We talked to Teoscar Hernandez.
I would love to talk to Teoscar Hernandez because he is getting hot at the right time, man.
He sure is. I've got his stats. Let's pull those up and we'll have a look here. Teoscar Hernandez still struggles in the outfield defensively at times.
He definitely makes Blue Jays fans do the big gulp sometimes, right? You see that high fly ball. He's made some really good defensive plays, too, in the last month, but there's always that grabbing your collar like, oh no.
For the casual fan, what would you describe as being a good OPS to have?
800. If you're
Eight.
above 800, you're above average for sure.
Okay. Uh, and we'll start with this then before I pull up the stats. On the season, Teoscar Hernandez OPS 807. Good hitter.
Definitely.
What would you say elite hitting is?
I think if your OPS is 850, you're an elite hitter.
Okay. So looking back over the course of the last 2 weeks, again, small sample size, but we
Yes.
know he's capable of it. And this, I think, just speaks to the fact that he's heating up. This isn't Raymel Tapia that we're looking at a 2 week sample size and going, look how great he is, right? But
Yes.
Teoscar, this is a 30 home run guy. This is a guy who is heating up when we need him to heat up. His OPS over the last 2-3 weeks here, 1.133. 1100 OPS.
Wow. That's insane.
Batting average of 340, slugging percentage of 766. He's got 5 home runs in his last 12 games. That's a 68 home run pace over 162. Look, if Teoscar can be this guy for the next month,
yeah.
Jays can do a lot of damage.
Jays can do a lot of damage, especially with Vladdy not looking like the 2021 Vladdy. Not that he hasn't been contributing here and there, but he's definitely not even on a hot streak right now for 2022. So if Teoscar can pick up some of the slack from Vladimir Guerrero Jr., that is going to do nothing but help this team out. I know that there's talk going on right now in the chat about what happens next year. Obviously, Teoscar Hernandez is on an expiring contract. He's got 1 year left before he's an unrestricted free agent, which is going to be in that 2023-2024 offseason. He's going to get paid. He's probably a $20 million a year guy. He's going to be 29 years old going into age 30 season when he's an unrestricted free agent. The other expiring contract in the outfield is Lourdes Gurriel Jr. And Lourdes had a career year this season. The big knock on Lourdes is he's always been incredibly hot and cold. What I do love about Lourdes, and I've said this many times, is that when he is hot, he has the ability to carry this team. And not every player, when they're hot, can do that. Lourdes, we've all as Blue Jays fans watched him put this Toronto Blue Jays team on his back for months at a time. Think about back in July when we were all like, why is nobody hitting? Lourdes was hitting when no one was hitting. Lourdes is also on a very team-friendly contract. He's going to make $3.1 million next year, and that is because there is no arbitration when it comes to Lourdes because he was an international free agent.
Mm-hmm.
Teoscar next year, however, is probably going to make $15 million, which is still below what his price would be on the open market. It's still probably a bargain for what Teoscar brings to the table. However, I think it's going to be really interesting to see what happens with these two. One of them is probably going to be moved come the offseason, and I think it's going to really depend on which teams they're dealing with. Of course, Lourdes is going to be more attractive to teams that are low payroll teams because $3.1 million is an incredible amount of value for a guy that's going to hit around 300. Lourdes doesn't have the power that Teoscar has. But my
Teoscar, by
goodness,
the
can
way,
he hit?
when we talk about Teoscar's power, 32 home runs last year, 16 in the shortened 2020 season. So through 50 games, he hit 16 home runs. What does this
He's at
team
what
do
this year?
with?
26?
He's at 25 right now.
25?
What do you want to see this team do then with the outfield position this offseason? I mean, we're getting way ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
But let's do it. That's what we're good for. Is Teoscar Hernandez a Blue Jay by the end of next season?
My guess is Teoscar is the most likely to be moved because of the money. Lourdes is also offering something to this lineup that it doesn't have, which is a guy who hits for average and gets on base and is a doubles machine. Not that there aren't guys on this team that hit a lot of doubles. Bo Bichette and Vladdy Guerrero, to name a couple, are big on doubles. But Teoscar is a little bit more redundant, and if you are going to bring in a left-handed bat, it is the easiest to do in the outfield. You know, there are guys like Brandon Nemo that are available. You know, of course, there's options that aren't on the free agent market as well. It's going to be interesting. I don't particularly wish to see either of them leave, but if the Blue Jays don't win the World Series, then they are going to need to take a good long look at the way that this roster is constructed, how many days at DH you need to give guys like Kirk and Springer, and the lack of a lefty bat has been screamed about all year. It was screamed about all last year, and I think that it is becoming more and more of a priority.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. Teoscar has a great bat. I've never been the biggest supporter of Teoscar. I'm not about to start right now. I'm glad he's hot. This is great timing. I hope it stays up for another 4 or 5 weeks. But the defense is subpar. Is that being too hard on him? I don't know if the effort is subpar, but it looks subpar.
I think it's safe to say I think it's safe to say that it's below average. I mean, I haven't looked at the defensive metrics or anything like that, but just the eye test says that Teoscar is definitely a below average fielder. He had worked really hard on it, but there's still those glimpses where you're just like, oh my God, how did that one get away? But also, like Taco Time mentioned it earlier in the chat, in the month of September, I've been very impressed with Teoscar's defense. He's made some big time catches. I know the one that stands out to me is the clinching game for home field advantage, game 1 of that Orioles series, where it's raining and he ran and tracked down that ball in right field and made a jumping catch at the wall to basically save 2 runs. So he has the ability to make big plays.
Yeah, he does. But the thing that always gets me with Teoscar and Lourdes,
mental lapses
to a different degree, like Lourdes, anything in the air, I have confidence that Lourdes is going to get to and is going to field it cleanly. But anything on the ground, I'm worried about it going through the wickets and he's turning around chasing it to the wall. With Teoscar, it's those moments where it's the hard hit ball into the corner, and in his mind, he's going, well, it's already a single.
Yes.
I just need to scoop it up and toss it in. And meanwhile, that single has now turned into a double. Or it's already a double. There's no point, really going hard here. It's just a stand-up double. Meanwhile, Randy Arozarena's turning it into a triple. Right? And that sort of stuff drives me nuts. So those aren't the kind of plays that are so glaring as like Vladdy putting it off the top of the wall and, watching and admiring it. Right. But it's those things, man, that adds up over the course of a season. And I don't like it.
Maybe Teoscar is an average fielder. I get so down on him because I watch him every day. So, and it is frustrating to watch those mental lapses where you're like, is he completely checked out right now? Because it sure looks like it. But should be interesting to see. We'll wrap things up here right away. Let's end on the MLB rankings of lineups for playoff teams and pitching. Did you have anything else to add before we do that, Adam?
No, let's go.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, everybody in the chat. It's been you've all been very interactive today. It's great. Okay, so MLB just released today their rankings of lineups. A lot of stats went into this. I read the article this morning, and of course, it's all about weighted runs created plus and the average OPS of the team and the amount of home runs for the team and just the slugging percentage. All of that sort of thing went into this. So the MLB has, or I should say, MLB has it ranked as number 1 is the Los Angeles Dodgers, number 2 are Toronto Blue Jays, number 3 the Braves, number 4 the Cardinals, number 5 the Yankees, number 6 the other New York team, the New York Mets, and then 7 is Astros, 8 is the Phillies, 9 the Mariners, 10 the Padres, 11 the Guardians, and 12 is the Rays. And we talked about this a little bit yesterday, Adam, when we were doing our rankings. The Tampa Bay Rays ranked at the bottom of our ranks, but the one really impressive thing about that Tampa Bay Rays team is the versatility, how they can massage a lineup every single time they face a pitcher to benefit them the most. Right? Like they've got guys that move all over the diamond. They can put a lefty in here. They can put a righty in here. They've almost got splits for the way they align their infield and outfield, which is an incredibly impressive thing to be operating with. So even though the Rays rank 12, don't sleep on the Rays. And I think all Blue Jays fans will tell you that. You look past the Rays and you're going to wind up eating it. So I will end on pitching rankings, which almost goes the other way. So number 1 is the Houston Astros. Number 2, the Los Angeles Dodgers, because the Dodgers are just that good. Number 3 is the Atlanta Braves. Also, both of them, they rank 3 on both those lists. So the Braves are a scary team, and I think we all are aware of that after watching them win the World Series last year. The Cleveland Guardians are in at number 4, and a very scary pitching team that a lot of folks are sleeping on. I know that in our Scott and Adam Suck at Betting segment last night with our partner BetStamp there,
Guardians are for real. They could do some damage.
Put some money on the Guardians, and you could win some money on the Guardians. Yeah. Number 5 is the Rays. The Rays are always good at pitching. Number 6, the Mets. 7, the Yankees. 8, the Mariners. 9, the Cardinals. 10, the Phillies. Our Blue Jays in at number 11 out of 12 playoff teams for pitching, and the Padres rank 12th. Go Blue Jays, go! Super excited for tomorrow. Of course, that game gets going at 2 Mountain Time, 4 Eastern. A big tip of the hat to everyone in the chat. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to have our regular scheduled Friday show tomorrow. We're going to run it a little bit early, so we'll be live at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Thanks again to all the Patreon. I know Adam's got the list right there ready. I'm definitely not throwing him under the bus. He is so ready for this.
Definitely so ready for this. I'm not scrambling at all to pull the list up. Look at me. I'm ready to read the list. Would you believe it? Patreon.com/The Walk-Off Podcast. Kyle, Joey, Patrick, Wyatt, John, Dunedin, Bob, Michael, Sarah, John, Rashid, Joshua, Jeremy, and Ian. Told ya I had the list ready. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Cheers.
We really appreciate all of you within the walk-off community. This thing continues to grow and become an animal of its own. It's a little bit overwhelming, but honestly, we love talking Blue Jays baseball and all the interaction that you folks are involved with us. Thank you so much. Discord, feel free to join it. That is always free. The show, or the link is in the show notes. You can follow us on Twitter at Walk-Off Podcast, on Instagram, The Walk-Off Podcast. And if you are watching on YouTube currently and you're not subscribed, we'd really appreciate if you hit that subscribe button. All the best, everybody. Cheers.